When the Earth Shook, Aceh Tsunami Survivor Stories. Disclaimer: the stories presented in this video are based on testimonies from various sources, including survivors, rescue workers, and community members affected by the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami in Aceh, Indonesia. All accounts have been fact-checked and verified for accuracy while respecting the dignity and privacy of those involved. Names have been changed to protect the privacy of survivors and their families. December 26, 2004, Sunday morning in Aceh. The call to prayer had just ended. Families were gathering for breakfast. Children were getting ready for what should have been another peaceful day. Then the earth began to shake. At first, it was just tremors. Then the ground beneath their feet started moving like the ocean itself. In the coastal villages of Banda Aceh, Lampulo, and Punjerong, nobody knew that in the next few minutes, their world would disappear forever. Nobody had ever heard the word tsunami. The moment everything changed. 14-year-old Rizki was just a middle school student whose father worked as a woodcutter. Like most children in Aceh, she had never learned about tsunamis in school. There was no information at all, she would later remember. No special preparation for disasters. 4 kilometers from the coast, 10-year-old Sari felt safe in her family's home on higher ground. Life was ordinary, peaceful, until the earth started roaring. In Lampulo, 20 years old Dewi was home with her mother and younger sibling when the shaking began. They had no emergency drills, no evacuation plans. We had absolutely no preparation, she recalled. Then came the shouts. The seawater is rising. Run. But run where? And from what? As one survivor would later say, if we had known there would be a tsunami, we could have run. But at that time, no one knew what a tsunami was. Dewi locked her door and told her 2 daughters to run. Her son was about to follow when her younger sibling asked him to go back for a hijab. That was the last time she ever saw him. Survival and loss. When the first massive wave hit, the world turned upside down in seconds. The water wasn't blue like the ocean. It was pitch black and smelled of death and destruction. Andy was praying in the mosque when everything began shaking. Through the windows, he watched people trying to save themselves, being swept away by waves that moved like a spinning top. But even in that chaos, he saw something that would stay with him forever. A man on a rooftop, risking his own life to pull a child to safety. The scale of destruction was beyond imagination. In one village of 6,000 people, only 1,000 survived. Entire families were erased in minutes. As one mother later said through her tears, "I was very sad thinking about my missing child." But in the midst of unthinkable loss, something extraordinary happened. Communities that had been torn apart began holding each other together. When food ran out in the first 3 days, people shared rotten tempeh just to survive. When helicopters finally arrived but couldn't land because of desperate crowds, the community organized itself to distribute whatever aid fell from the sky, even if it was damaged. In the evacuation camps, the most heartbreaking comfort came from the youngest survivors. Orphan children would console grieving adults, saying, "Why are you sad? Your family is still there, while our family is clearly gone." Even children became teachers of resilience. Heroes among us, the tsunami destroyed buildings, but it built something else, an unbreakable bond between strangers who became family. Achenese people who lived away from the coast immediately mobilized to help. They didn't wait for government instructions or international aid. They just came, with food, water, blankets, and open arms. Factory workers whose mothers lost their jobs found new ways to support their families. Communities merged schools so that children could continue learning, even in refugee tents. Years later, one survivor would reflect, "What gave me strength at the evacuation camp were the stories told by the orphans at night. When I cried, they comforted me." The recovery took 5 years, but it did more than rebuild houses. It rebuilt hope. It ended a decades-long conflict, bringing peace to Aceh. It created environmental organizations led by survivors who were determined to understand and prepare for disasters. As one survivor put it, the tsunami ultimately led me to study environmental and disaster issues more seriously. The community is now more open to information about disasters. Call to action. Today, Aceh is different. Children learn about tsunamis in school. Communities practice evacuation drills every year. Families keep emergency backpacks ready with essential documents. But the most important change isn't in the technology or the buildings. It's in the understanding. As one survivor now teaches her children, material possessions are unimportant. Safety and life are what matter most. Another survivor made a pact with his wife. If they ever feel the ground shake near the coast, they run to higher ground immediately. No questions, no looking back for belongings. Because they learned the hardest lesson of all, you cannot outrun a tsunami, but you can out-prepare it. So what can you do right now? Learn the warning signs. If you're near the ocean and feel a strong earthquake, don't wait for sirens. Move to higher ground immediately. If you see the ocean suddenly recede, that's nature's only warning. You have minutes, not hours. Create a family emergency plan. Practice it. Make sure every family member knows where to meet and how to get there. And remember, disasters don't just destroy communities, they reveal them. They show us who we really are when everything else is stripped away. Closing message. 20 years later, the survivors of Aceh carry two things: the weight of tremendous loss and the strength of tremendous love. As one survivor beautifully expressed, this bitter experience is a great lesson for those of us who are still alive and for the next community, so that we always build social solidarity and a culture of disaster preparedness. The people of Aceh didn't just survive the tsunami, they transformed it into wisdom. They turned their trauma into teaching. They made sure that no future generation would face the wave as unprepared as they were. In the words of another survivor, "In the past, we were very ignorant about disaster management. Now we understand it better. This may be a lesson learned. The earth will shake again. The ocean will rise again. But next time, we'll be ready." Because the greatest tribute to those we lost is making sure no one else has to lose what they lost. Start preparing today. Share this story. Begin the conversation. Because being ready isn't just about surviving disaster. It's about honoring the memory of those who couldn't. Let's learn about the disaster together. See you next time.